Where do you start with people in going, okay, I want to get better with conflict resolution?
What I like to tell people is figure out the very first thing you're going to say. I would open up that conversation with saying,
how does one deal with someone who enjoys conflict?
when somebody comes at me very aggressive, it's clear they enjoy the conflict. It's really important to recognize that. Once I realize I'm dealing with someone like that, I will not give it to them.
Our guest is someone who loves a good fight, but in the best possible way. Gabe Karp went from being a hotshot trial lawyer to a tech startup exec to a venture capitalist. Along the way, he became an expert in turning high conflict situations into growth fuel. He's the author of the brilliantly titled book, Don't Get Mad at Penguins, which is all about detoxing the toxic disagreements we all come about in our day-to-day.
If a bully is coming at you with a very high volume and an aggressive tone, and you use the it'll diffuse the situation, the bully trap, where people, because they're passionate about something, they engage in bullying-like behavior. Sometimes that person can be us.
The ambassador of healthy conflict, Gabe Karp, welcome to Transforming the Game.
Hi, Christina. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you.
Oh, I'm very excited about this one because I feel like we all go through conflict in our life, whether it's daily, whether it's extreme, whether it's once a month. Most people try and avoid it, and it's things like your stubbornness, your ego, you just truly believe you're right. Sometimes I like to, in more of a personal conflict, go, let's just agree to disagree. Where do you start with people in going, okay, I want to get better with this conflict resolution thing. I don't like it, but I know that I'm going to have to embrace it. So where should we start with people listening?
That's a great question. And it, depending on the details, it could change a little bit, but let's just take a situation where someone has to have a difficult conversation with someone else. And they you know, and they're just, and the feeling is, I do not want to have this conversation. Like, this is not going to go well. And I feel really uncomfortable with it. So what I like to tell people is figure out the first 5 seconds of the conversation, figure out the very first thing you're going to say. If someone's doing something that maybe it's someone who works for you, or even works with you, and they're engaging in negative behavior, I would open up that conversation with saying, hey, I wanted to talk to you because I think you are being perceived in a way that you do not want to be perceived. Well, right there, you're going to pique somebody's interest. They're going to want to hear what you have to say next because you're coming from a place of support. You're not saying, hey, you're screwing up and I'm about to tell you all the ways that you're screwing up. Instead, you're saying, I want to help you, and this is the thing I want to help you on. So this is me like being supportive of you. So it's a great way to enter a conversation.
Sort of engaging with I'm trying to help. And now when you come across, and I have in the past, especially let's talk work, where someone is more aggressive, they're probably feeling a bit threatened by you. You might be new in, that you've just rocked their territory, and they come and they try the public attack where you may have had one-on-ones, but the public attack. I can give you a personal experience in the past where that's happened to me. I actually retreated in that meeting, didn't talk, but afterwards I sent him an email with all the facts first because I think I needed to get that out. That's me. And then I called him and I said, in the future, if you want to communicate, engage with me, you do A, B, C. Otherwise, you won't get the best out of me. That in that situation worked. But I feel like sometimes you get the aggressors that don't want to listen and don't. And in your book, actually, let's talk about the Miltons. So everyone's got Miltons in their life where they thrive off the drama. They thrive off that, let's call it power. How does one deal with someone who enjoys conflict?
There are quite a few of those out there. I, as a trial lawyer for the first 10 years of my career, was one of them, where I enjoyed conflict. I was, as a trial lawyer, you got to be pretty aggressive because you're going up against other aggressive people. And it's hard, and then if you behave that same way with your friends, really you're just a jerk. So I have my insight about this comes from being the person that I now have to deal with on the other side. So when somebody comes at me very aggressive, it's clear they enjoy the conflict. It's clear that if they can get me riled up, I'm giving them exactly what they want. It's the very thing that makes them kick off the sheets in the morning and jump out of bed to greet the day so they can mix it up with someone. It's really important to recognize that, because once I realize I'm dealing with someone like that, I will not give it to them. If somebody publicly attacks me in a meeting in front of other people, again, how you respond depends on the details of what they're saying, but I would call it out. And I would say things like, look, I understand clearly you feel very strongly about this, as you should. But I think it'd be a more productive conversation if we could just dial the temperature down, because you got something important to say and I want to make sure I hear it so that I can respond to it. And just the audience, the other people in the room, when they see somebody attacking and then they see the person being attacked, take a step back and say, hey, this attack isn't working. I actually want to focus on solving something here. That's actually the power move. You got to know that when you do something like that, you will embarrass the other person. They will feel all eyes on them, and then they're going to know that you're the one who did that. But you can continue to give them a soft landing, to say, hey, look, let's figure out about that. Like you did when you were attacking me, you don't say attacking, but when you were talking earlier, you did say this. I think that's important. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And so the important thing to do is you're kind of smacking them down in the moment, telling them that their approach isn't going to work, but you're also giving them an immediate off-ramp to engage in a healthy dialogue without them feeling embarrassed. You can kind of just move it along.
I think that's a really critical point that I wanted to repeat there, where you said, actually, you should converse back in the environment you're in that they're doing it to. You're repeating what they're saying so they're feeling heard, but then you're also allowing them to come back into the conversation at a level that might actually work. What I do like in Don't Get Mad and Penguins, your book, which is brilliant and brilliantly titled, by the way, is you talk about the shopping list voice, and you just did it brilliantly, actually, as you were role playing back about that. Let's tell people out there exactly what you're talking about with the shopping list voice, because it's actually really well written, because you think about reading out a shopping list as you do it, and you instantly put your tone back to a level of dullness almost.
Yeah, you tone it down. You kind of just did a pretty good job of laying it out, but this is in the context of what I call the bully trap, where people, because they're passionate about something, maybe they're angry, maybe they feel urgency, they engage in bullying-like behavior. And sometimes that person can be us, and we don't want to be perceived as a bully in someone else's eyes. So, I like using an example of where someone on my team makes a really bad mistake and maybe a client is firing my company because of it. And I'm on the phone with the client and they say, yeah, we're done because so-and-so screwed this up. And I'm really mad, as I should be, because that's a natural human reaction. But if I slam the phone down and march over to that person in front of everybody, just start screaming at him like, I just got the phone with the client, you screwed this up, we lost the client, that's not helpful. But it is important that if somebody made a mistake, that you do give them the feedback. So I recommend, number one, don't do anything in front of an audience. Pull them aside. And the shopping list voice, like Christina, if you said, hey, Gabe, I'm going to the store, do you want me to pick anything up? I would say, yeah, I'm going to make a cake. So could you pick up eggs, milk, sugar, frosting, and sprinkles? Like, it's dispassionate. So I just got off the phone with the client. They said you sent deliverables with mistakes in them. They had to redo your work, and they missed a deadline, and they've terminated their agreement with us. It's dispassionate. And that works to not only prevent yourself from being perceived as a bully in someone else's eyes, also if a bully is coming at you with a very high volume and an aggressive tone, and you use the shopping list back to them, that shopping list voice, it'll diffuse the situation. They're not going to want to, they're going to need to match your tone. So they're going to have to come down to meet you.
It's like water on fire, isn't it?
Exactly. Precisely.
So with that, I've read with your work, you talk about if you rely on flawless execution, you're pretty much setting up for failure. But I want to hear more about a story you've sort of teased about where you were working for or doing work with Procter and Gamble.
Yes.
Tell me.
This is a longer story than we have time, but I'll try
Okay,
and trust this.
60 seconds.
Yeah, we are running a loyalty program. My company is running a loyalty program for Pampers, which required that we print a code on every package of Pampers, and then people could buy the package, get the code, put in their account, get points. And when you generate millions of these codes, because it's just letters and numbers, you're going to randomly get real words popping up in those codes. And you're supposed to therefore run all codes through what's called a profanity filter before you print them on packages and send them out to your customers. Without getting into details, we didn't do that. And I think everyone can see where this story is going. We get a call from our client at Pampers who was very upset because they got a call from a young mother who complained to them that she's looking at their loyalty program, punching her code in her account, and she comes across a 4-letter word that just jumps off the product packaging at her. And it was not one of the nice words. It was one of the really bad ones. But that was a situation where they were very, very angry with us. And the second we found out what had happened, instead of taking a defensive posture and saying, hey, our contract doesn't say anything about running codes through a profanity filter. And you mean you have a profanity filter and you didn't run codes to them before you sent out those packages to your customers? All right, well, sounds like we're both at fault. We didn't do that. We just leaned in and we said, this is our fault. We are so sorry. We put you in this horrible position. We're going to do everything we need to make it right. And we did. We called up the mother. We gave her a year's supply of Pampers for free. And ultimately the client at Pampers was happy. And they said, you really screwed this up. But you know what? The second this came to light, you stepped up. You had our back and you protected our brand, and we trust you to do that in the future. So you talked about flawless execution. Had we executed flawlessly, we wouldn't have anywhere near a good a relationship with Pampers than making the mistake we did and then owning up to it and demonstrating our character. That's what really strengthened the relationship.
I like that. It's people taking accountability, and then you build the trust and loyalty, and your relationships can soar generally. I want to end with something a bit fun, Gabe. We're going to do the penguin lightning round. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you a few scenarios, and you're going to quickly say penguin or problem. So should they be dealing with it, or is it a penguin? They can't fly. You just got to let them go and ignore. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Your business partner constantly reschedules meetings last minute. Penguin or problem?
Problem.
An investor loves giving advice, but clearly has never read your business plan. Penguin or problem?
Penguin.
A top salesperson is brilliant with clients, but a total diva with the team.
Probably a problem. Probably a penguin.
Yeah, you pitch your startup at an event and a random audience member is heckling.
I would say that's a penguin and don't care.
Yeah.
Don't say
last one. Your customer leaves a 1-star review because they ordered the wrong the wrong product.
That is a penguin.
That's a penguin.
Yeah.
I have loved this. I really love your book and recommend anyone to go read it. It is Don't Get Mad with Penguins by Gabe Karp. It is teaching you how to identify the tools for conflict resolution, how to bring power back to you. Everyone wants control, right? How to control these situations where you do feel a bit sick in the stomach. I really, really am grateful for you putting that out into the world, Gabe, and I really appreciate your time today on transforming the game.
Thank you, Christina. I would add, there's actually an 8-minute TED Talk I did, How to Thrive with Difficult People. I would check that out too, because sometimes people don't want to read a whole book, but everyone's got 8 minutes. And it's
everyone's got it.
How to thrive with difficult people. And thank you so much for having me, Christina. I appreciate it.
I'll definitely put that in the links below for everyone. So we'll have links to all of that, because we've definitely got to watch that TED Talk. Everyone loves the TED Talk. But 8 minutes, like you say, could change your life, and it might strengthen a relationship in a big partnership you've got in your company that you never know you needed to do. So thank you.
All right.